I'm going to show y'all how we can create some pretty dynamic lists in MoreBrainSpace. All right, so this is what my landing page looks like right now. I have a couple of lists I can get into or notes I can get into. Let's say I want to make a new one. One I like to show off is books. So I'm going to make a new one. I can either, right now I'm searching for it, but if I just hit enter, I'll just start to create a new one if it doesn't already exist. Cool. So if I want to start adding things to my list here, I just hit return and that creates a new item. So I'm just going to start to write a couple of ones in here. So I have Creativity Inc. I'm going to say getting things done. One I really liked was 19 ways of looking at consciousness. Let's try to spell that one right. All right, I think that's right. Cool. And then let's add one more. Think like a freak. Cool. All right, so right off the bat, this is just a pretty normal looking list. What's nice about this is we can start to order it. We can say, okay, order this by where the most recently created one is on top. Or I can say put those on the bottom. By default, it's just going to be in whatever order I want. I can press Option up and down to rearrange it. No real reason to do that now. I can also order by the text, so it's alphabetically ordered. And if I want, let's say I want it to always be the most recent one that I've added, I can save my view here. Cool. If this is something I want to get back to all the time, I can pin it. That means it's just going to be at the top of my list here all the time, so I can get back to it. Cool. All right, so now let's get a little bit more, let's make this a little bit more interesting here. So what's cool here is that instead of just being a list of books that I've liked or listened to or read or whatever, I can actually start to take notes on these. So if I hit Shift Return, I'm actually going to start making notes about this one. I can also go directly to this page, so I can start to think like, so I can add a new line and I can start to take some notes of quotes I maybe liked from the book, whatever it may be. Here, I might say this is a quote from the book. I might have my own thoughts, like this makes me to learn to play guitar. I might put this under journal. I can start to organize all of these thoughts related to this book. Okay, cool. Let's get back to books though. So again, I want to show how we can make really powerful lists here. So on top of, right now, we just have the name of the book. I'd like to have some more information. So every time I add a book, I want to know a couple of things about it. First off, let's just say I want to know who was it recommended by. So I'm going to search for that. It doesn't exist, so I'm creating it. When I click on it, I can see that this is now its own list that has all of the books on it too. The only reason I'm going over here is because I want to change the settings of this node here. So everything is called a node here, and then nodes have relationships to each other. So by default, a node is just text. So this is the plain type. If I change it, I can change it to a property. And the type of property can be a date, a checkbox, a number, or a reference to another node. So that's what I want here because I want to reference other people or places that I've heard of these things. So if we go back now, I'm going to go back to books, and I can see that each one of my books has a recommended by field. And let's say I put, this is from my brother, 19 ways. I'm going to say this is from Reddit. This is going to be from my friend. And this one, let's say, is also from my brother. Again, what's cool here is we can start to, if I was trying to remember that there was some book that my brother recommended, I could go to books and I can say, okay, just filter by recommended by my brother. And then now I have my list of books. The other thing that's really cool here is because, remember, we're making a reference to an actual node. If I go back here and search, I can look for my brother. And then all of a sudden, underneath my brother, I have all of the books that that they have recommended to me. Cool. So I might also in here, this is just another list. An item can be on more than one list. So my brother list might also include like gift ideas. So I might say this is socks. And I'm going to say this is a gift idea under gift ideas. Cool. So, and then I might also want to organize this further. So if I do a greater than symbol, I can actually filter, make a sub filter here. So I'm going to select books, and now all my books are actually in a folder together here. And then maybe I make another one for gift ideas to keep this nice and organized. So now my brother, I can say, I'm looking at my brother, I wanted a gift idea, here we go, socks. All right, let's get back to books though. So I'm going to click the circle, and that brings you back to the page for that node. Recommended by, great. I also want to just know the difference between books that I have read already and the ones that I'm going to read. So the way I like to do this is just to make a simple to read tag. And now when I go back, it's automatically added on all of these once I refresh. So here I can say, okay, well, I've already read all these. I'm just going to take this off here, here, and here. Let's say I'm still waiting on this one. And then anytime I add a book now, it's going to come with my list of recommendations. So let's say I'm going to do The Theory of Fun, which is a game design book that I want to remember. And let's say this was also my friend. Cool. So the other thing here is you can just start to put your own, there's no real rules about what you can put in here. So I'm going to say this is, like I said, it's going to be game design. This is kind of, oh man, I don't even know what I call this one, but this is like, this is about brains. And this is productivity. And let's just say this is like productivity too, actually. And let's just call this one creativity and maybe business book. Cool. So now I've got all these lists. I can say, all right, what are all my productivity books? So I can either go to filter and go to productivity, and now I find all my productivity books here. I can if I want this to be actually if I want my default here to be just books I haven't read yet, I can add another filter here for to read. I can flip this to say, all right, here are the books that I haven't read yet. I can flip it to say, all right, remove all of the ones that I haven't read yet. These are all the ones I have. I'm going to put this back to the ones I haven't and save that as the default here. And also, let's just say I want to randomly pick one. So now whenever I come to this page, it's going to randomly suggest some book here. Cool. So again, if I get rid of this here, you can see now I can start to order by other properties here. One last thing I want to add in here. Let's just say I want to now start logging, the last time I read it. So, oops, I can correct that here. So this is going to be my last read. I'm going to say this is a property, and the type this time is going to be a date. And we can go back. Now we have the last read. I'm going to filter to the ones I have read. Oh, I'm not on books. That's why that wasn't already there. Okay, I'm going to show the ones I have already read. I'm going to say this one was today. This one was a couple months ago. And then I might want to just type in this one. So I'll say this one was 2000 and, the first of the month in 2000. Was really thinking like a freak then. Cool. So again, what's cool here is I can also order by property. So I can say which, I can order by last read, and then now I can flip this order and see, all right, what was the last time I read this book? So show me a book that I have read, which one was one I haven't read in the longest time. So now it's thinking like a freak. And I might want that to be my default for this page. Anytime you change something here, it'll give the option to save this as your default view, which can be really helpful to just kind of create a list, a nicely filtered list that you can get back to all the time. All right, let's just add maybe one more thing in here. We're going to add a new one that is just a rating. So after I've read a book, I also want to give it a rating. My rating, I'm going to change that to be a number. And this is going to be the hardest part of all. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my books. And I'm going to say, all right, all of the ones that I have read, I'm going to give them a rating. So I'm going to give this one an 8. This one is going to be an 11 because I just really liked it. Getting Things Done was a solid 9. I liked them. So again, we can order by a property. We can say rating, and then all of a sudden I can say, okay, here is the best book I read. And let's get even trickier with this. Let's say last read. And I'm going to say since 2023, first of the month. And I'm going to say where the last read was greater than or equal to. So I can say definitively now, here is the best book that I read in the last year. The last thing I want to show here is when it comes time to add a new book, let's say you just got a recommendation. You don't have to go and navigate and get all the way to books. You can just click new right away and you can just start writing it. So let's say Atomic Habits. And then I just tag it as books, like add it to the books list. And then right away, I got all of the things that I need. I can just start filling this out. This is, again, my brother. It's to read. I have not read it yet. I don't have a rating. Great. And I want to actually add that it's also a productivity book. And then maybe I want to add some like notes like my brother really loved this one. Cool. And then again, when we go back to our list, let's change it to the ones I haven't read yet, and let's change it to the order. I'm going to change that to when it was added and save that as my default. And there it is.